What would happen if Superman was struck by a lightsaber? And I don't mean one whose focus crystal is kryptonite. I mean a regular Star Wars lightsaber. Would it just pass through him without doing anything? Or would he be able to block it like a regular blade that had actual mass? It would probably just bounce off him that way lightsabers bounce off each other. Certain armors. And other weapons. It might burn a gash into his supersuit, but he'd be fine. I'm pretty sure that Superman is able to survive Darkseid's Omega beams. At least in some continuities. So I think he can tank a lightsaber. He's the Man of Steel. After all. And since he's at least as strong as Beskar steel, I'd say he could just block it. Beskar blocks lightsabers. Superman is way tougher than Beskar. Now those are some proper no stupid questions. My theory is that it will act like a blowtorch and the blade will lose its shape against his chest, Superman being physically invulnerable to most explosions and heat. Lightsabers only work as solid objects against other lightsabers. For all other intents and purposes, they're a super blowtorch. But Vader could choke him to death or smash his brain inside of his skull. Soup isn't space magic proof. There's only one way to find out. Oh wait, no, there isn't. The question is if the Force counts as magic, and if that makes a difference. That depends on the sort of light emitted by the saber. If we assume sabers emit the same light that suns do, then a yellow lightsaber might make him stronger as he gets his power from yellow star light. But a red lightsaber would be deadly as a red sun's light takes away his power and weakens him. As for whether the yellow saber would hurt him or not due to the heat, I don't think it would, as in the All-Star Superman comic spoilers ahead he literally flies into the sun to fix it. So if he can withstand the heat and pressure of the sun's core, a yellow lightsaber wouldn't be likely to hurt him. If there were lightsabers that incorporate Kyber and Kryptonian crystal tech, then possibly. That would be a sick AF crossover. My favorite superhero against a badass Sith Lord with a lightsaber powered by Kyber and Kryptonian crystal tech. That would be a sight to see for sure. The lightsaber would have no effect on him. It would just bounce off him. Most if not all comments are saying he'd block it no problem. So I have a follow-up question. Could a Jedi or Sith use the Force against him to have a snowball's chance in hell of besting him in battle? Like, could they Jedi mind trick him at all? Could they hold him in suspension with the Force so he can't move? It bounces off or just stops when it hits him. The same way lightsabers react when hitting materials like cortosis, Beskar, of the blades of other lightsabers. In general, Superman's durability would deflect the blade with it doing no damage, much like the various materials that do the same in the Star Wars universe itself. However, this assumes that the attack is happening in a situation where he is normally powered up. Should he be drained of power by being exposed to red solar radiation for some time rather than the normal white-yellow light of his sun, then it may be able to damage him. If we're going with the Kryptonians are durable because solar energy battery version, Superman's energy reserves probably get worn down however much when you hit him with a lightsaber. But to the tune of however much any other high-powered plasma weapon that hits him can knock him out of the sky and stuff. So it'll hurt. Won't burn or cut through him right away. But could theoretically fuck him up if you beat him up with one enough to deplete his internal reservoir of energy that makes his natural energy shield. Good luck with that part though. Superman is powered by the sun. His cells absorb solar radiation. And lightsabers are, well, light. Or maybe photons? Anyway, I'd think something similar to what happened in All-Star Superman. He spends too much time in the sun. His cells get super saturated and start busting. Whatever part of his body gets hit from the lightsaber wouldn't seem damaged at first but would slowly atrophy as his cells burst from too much energy. Wouldn't harm him. Superman has invulnerability unless he's in the presence of kryptonite. It would be like hitting with a foam baseball bat. It depends on the writer. The outcome would be decided by an army of copyright lawyers. Nothing. Lightsabers are superheated plasma, I think? That can't burn Superman. There's also that Superman has a field that he can extend over objects to enable him to lift a building and not have it just crumble at the pressure of his grip. Point. In which case maybe that field would make the saber bounce off rather than pass over him with no effect. Would the Force work on him? He's been mind-controlled before, so that might do something, but push, choke, even lightning seem useless. Lawsuits from Disney. Superman uses it to shave. Heard it here first. Well, I ain't no expert on superheroes or lightsabers, but my guess is that it would probably just bounce off him like a fly hitting a windshield. But hey, who knows? Maybe he's got some secret weakness we don't know about. Like weight. We've seen him block energy lasers with his hands. I feel like the lightsaber would be a similar concept, so I agree with many of the others in this thread. Generally ineffective. It would slice him, since Superman is weak against magic. Look, I have the correct answer backed by science. Superman is the Man of Steel. He would obviously melt. It depends entirely on what the person writing the script or comic thinks. There's literally no answer here because it's two completely fictitious things that have no basis in reality to draw from, or real analogs to compare either in reality or in requisite fiction. The best possible answer, the closest thing to a usefully informative one, yikes, would be one that is totally reaching. Probably cut in half. It's a unknown technology laser as crypto or alien superpower, so it's not a human technology laser. Sue Yoda will decapitate Superman like a samurai. Nothing, because they're both imaginary figments. It would bounce off his skin. Lightsabers are not real. Well, that's basically a what will happen if insert fantasy MacGuffin. That has no root in reality meets insert another fantasy MacGuffin. That defies all known physics question. And the answer is we don't care. Just show us some cool special effects. We have abandoned reason long ago. He's Superman, not Dr. Manhattan. Something as hot as the sun can burn him. This is the content I am here for. There's some serious copyright violations. Lawyers with boners to get in on it all over LA. In the end, the mouse wins. Man of Steel. He was created way before Beskar, so we must assume he's normal steel. I've seen lightsaber melt plenty of non-Beskar things and go through ordinary metal like nothing. I have to assume OL soup is getting chopped up. Nothing, because neither of those things exist. If the lightsabers can't just gravity their way straight to the core of a planet, then they can't do anything to Superman. Not that those two things are related, mind you. It's just sort of a if you can't do this much, how can you expect to do this much kind of approach. He'd be fine. It would probably bounce off of him like a bullet or fire. Nothing, perhaps. Depends on his plot armor. Where he's from, it means hope smirk. He'd certainly be fine. Look at the sabers versus the blast doors in TPM. And supposedly they're significantly less durable than Superman, though it depends which Superman we are talking about.